What's up, YouTube? It's Todd Horst here with Tasty Tracker, and really quick, I just wanted to mention to give me a follow on Twitter at Todd Horst. I post charts daily there, so that's actually the most convenient way to stay up to date. Second way is in Discord. I have a Discord channel. All the links should be in the description. I'm in Discord all day long, talking about different stocks. So today I wanted to go over the small account challenge a little bit, but since there hasn't been that much movement, go ahead and go over a bunch of the stocks I wrote down on general market conditions and my thoughts at the moment. So just real quick look here. We're basically at 1700, which is what we were at before. If I go to the week, hasn't really changed that much, down $34, and 20 of that is from Doge alone. So basically hasn't moved at all, except for that I bought that at the peak. So as for what's changed in the account, I bought some Ethereum and Doge. I put 40 into Doge by accident. That was actually kind of like a Robinhood glitch, and so I've lost half of that. And then I bought more shares. I think the original account here was 18 shares of Dow, and now I have 16. But other than that, I still have my Disney position. So I'll go over Disney and Dow. I'm not worried about these two. I don't really ever intend on selling those, so I'll just hold on to those forever, or relatively speaking. So the account hasn't changed much, and so with that, we'll jump right in. So obviously, we'll start here with SPY. We're on the upper range of where I think we should be. Now it does run up on that red line for several days, for periods of time, like here, that was a week here where we're pushing that red line the entire week. And we've been up here for, a week and a half, 2 weeks here, pushing the red line. So from my perspective, I am a bit bearish at the moment. We can see MACD's kind of coming down. We're pretty hot still in RSI, so it definitely could go up some more from here. So I would say 420 next week is certainly in the cards. If it wants to, I do expect a pullback here, though I think at this point, it's going to hold on the 20-day, which currently is sitting at 408. So I don't see a huge downside. Even if we drop down to the 50, that's still 396, so you're looking at around 400. So there's not a huge downside from my perspective, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a pullback, something along the lines of that, and by that point this will kind of do like that. So maybe around the 5th, we would pull back to 410-ish, and that would be about it. So we'll see if I'm right on that or not. So I wanted to go over sort of the basic Fang stocks here first. Facebook actually looks pretty good to me. The 20-day wants to hold here, and we're actually weakening on the MACD downturn. RSI has been making higher lows. So obviously the only issue there could be earnings, but it's set up nicely to come back here and pretty easily test 315 again if earnings are not terrible. So at this point, I'm bullish. Let's go to AMZN. So I'm still kind of convinced we're in a channel with Amazon. I kind of think we'll come back down here to the 20, or maybe just past that. So maybe 3,200 it would touch, or 3,250. And then I think at that point, we're going to have enough momentum to sort of leg up here and get out of this channel. So I view all of this as hangover, and I've said that multiple times, of 2020. So with 2020, we artificially boosted the economy, and then a lot of new traders entered the market and pushed prices up for the only stocks that were working at that time, Amazon being one of them. So it had this huge climb up here, and so now it's just kind of chilling out, recuperating, making, I guess, just adjusting to the new world. So At this point, though, I think we are getting close to a point where I'm not expecting like a huge run up to 4,000 or anything like that, but I am expecting that we could probably hit 3,700 on the next run up. So I'm thinking maybe we do something like this, and then we can tackle this kind of area in here. So that would be 3,500 to 3,900 is kind of what I'm thinking. Apple kind of in the middle of its channel here. I'm looking at the outer, so 120 to 145, somewhere in there. And that's kind of the same thing. I don't see much downside. We'll come down here possibly and touch the 20-day, or very likely the 20-day will just come up to meet and then lift up the stock. So something, it'll go sideways until then and then start to want to increase. So we should be able to hit 140 here in the next 2 weeks. Do have earnings, obviously, so that plays a role in it. I've been discounting MACD for the past couple months just because of the volatility. It's not as accurate. It's, for me, I've been leaning on the RSI much more in this period, and it's reading that it's hot but not overdone. So it definitely has room to go up from here. I always spell Netflix wrong, so then I just type it all out. Obviously they missed on they didn't live up to expectations with subscriber counts, and so that's the downturn. But it definitely has found support here at 500, and so now that we're through earnings, RSI is reset, and MACD might have a little bit more to go before it wants to turn up. But I wouldn't hesitate really to put on a position here, bullish position, and I might even go a little bit aggressive, thinking that we consolidate in this area and then maybe dip down before proceeding up, but I don't expect anything big. Let's change that to the 200-day just to see where that's sitting at. Yeah, so we're below the 200-day at the moment, and then yep, something like that where we would try to overtake the 200-day somewhere mid to late June. Also want to hit Microsoft. Microsoft has been sort of all over the place. They were talking about buying out Discord. Those talks fell through, but it didn't really seem to phase anything. I didn't really see too much of a jump on the Discord announcement on either way, either the start of discussions or the end of discussions. So we have been holding up here, finding support at the 260 area, 258. I definitely think this has had a pretty crazy run here. Unlike Amazon, that has been stuck in the channel since June or July, somewhere in that range. This has been steadily increasing. So from my perspective, this could cool off here for a minute and stay in this range, or even come back down here. Let's change that back to the 20-day. So yeah, I definitely could see it pulling back here to the 20-day around 250. But even then, that's only $10. So that's not a huge drop or anything like that. It would not surprise me if we came the whole way down to 245, somewhere around the 50-day at that point. Just because of, again, how big of a move this has been. So let's look at my list here. I wanted to go over a couple sectors. Healthcare is way overdone. At this point, the general ETF here, XLV, that doesn't obviously mean that it will crash. It could just mean that it will slow down and stay in this area. But it's definitely important to note how far above, how far away from the 20-day it is. It's quite extended, and RSI right here is at levels we haven't seen back since December of 19. So yeah, it's been a bit since we've been this overbought. So that's just a word of caution that if you're going to enter something, make sure it's something that can be neutral or slanted, maybe a bit bearish. So if you're doing a bullish play, make sure you're down here below the 20-day or 50-day, just to give yourself more cushion than average, because I would expect this to roll over a bit. XBI is the next one. Biotech. A lot of the biotech companies and I'll actually go some more that aren't biotech, but are smaller price, smaller cap kind of deals. They all, to me, look ready to go. So we've cleared the 20-day here, obviously coming up here to try to get over the 50-day. These are close enough that it could even blow through these in one session. It just depends. RSI is just warming up, so you might see something like that, and over that span of movement, you can get a huge move. So by the end of this move, till we get to these overbought levels, we could easily be up here at this 150 range. Obviously, I don't know, but it's found support here down at 127. Can't really chart ETFs the same as you can with stocks, but this is more to show that the sector is heating up, biotech. Let's go over semis. So semis have been especially hot, and they haven't really, since COVID, most everything else like back here had come down and then traded around this range, while semis recovered it immediately and are back up to all-time highs basically. So okay, so wow. So at this point, this looks healthy to me. I'm not concerned about it being stuck under the 20-day. I think it just needed to relax again. So yeah, I'm thinking something along these lines before we go back up. If you notice here, MACD is kind of wearing off, so it has room to run. The only thing that's a little bit concerning here are these lower highs, but we are kind of at a wedge here where it's making higher lows as well. So I think that, to me, I'm still leaning bullish, excuse me, because of how well semis have been doing. There's been a lot of announcements of expanding factories and new contracts, stuff like that. Okay, so let's go over the positions for the small account a while. I do have a couple tickers after this, but Disney, so I have the 180. You can see that I sold, and that's down here at this yellow line. Right now, the 100 days coming up to support that, and it's kind of wedging down on the 20-day. This has been kind of flat recently to down, and so I think we're oversold enough here that we should be able to have a move up. I don't expect it to go much lower. If it does, it would only be for a couple sessions before it would pop up again, but it's Disney, so I'm not really too worried about that. Dow got an upgrade recently, I think maybe today, and had a nice bounce off the 100-day. Obviously, coming up here is going to be a little bit of resistance here that has been ping-ponging back and forth here, and we'll probably see that again once it comes up here to the 20 and 50-day. But overall, I'm pretty bullish here at this point, which is why I have shares. I did want to go with shares here because I wasn't sure how long the recovery would take. I just wanted to get in and out pretty quickly. Looking at some of the gaming stocks, here we have Take-Two. To me, this is very constructive look. I might do something like that to draw a bit of a channel. It does have earnings coming up, but RSI has been heating up. Definitely still has plenty of room yet it can go. I don't think this MACD is going to turn into anything relevant. I think it's going to, you can see here it got rejected off the 20 and 50-day. I think in the next two sessions it'll pop up above those, and then we should be able to get up into this half of the channel. Next up, we have Deere here. It's continued on the trend that we had. We put our position on back in here and then closed it in this area. And it really hasn't moved too far. I'm not sure if it's going to stall out here. To me, it looks like with MACD and RSI both in this range, it looks like we could get over this 380 hump in the next couple days. But it's really making its best effort to stay on top of the 20-day, which is great news, I think. So we'll do a little line like that. So we might be, bouncing back and forth here until end of May here, but definitely by that point I expect it to break above the 380 line. The problem with Deer is it's best played with $10 wide strikes. Those are on the monthlies and most liquid. Doing $5 wides is on weeklies, and the liquidity isn't quite there. We still didn't have trouble getting in and getting out last time. I did have a working order again to enter a similar position on a weekly for the small account, but it was not failing, so I canceled it. But I still like the play. I think there's plenty of room here to either buy shares or long call or short put spread like I typically do here. Next, I wanted to go over a couple small ones. I do have some other ones mixed in there, but NNDM, I think a bunch of these look like they're ready to pop to me. They were sort of the first to go down in this most recent downtrend. And then you had stocks like Amazon and stuff that fluctuated, but they stayed in the range. So this chart pattern here is very, very common on a lot of the stocks that you're looking at right now. And I think the first ones to really get hit hard have double or triple bottomed at this point. They're wanting to take over the 20-day, and the 50-day and the 100-day are close together. So what that usually looks like then is we get a nice candle up here. It might mess around there for a day or two, come up and counter these two SMAs, maybe even get rejected and then come back down, something like that. So at this point, I'm very bullish on that one. AVT has just been chugging along. So I just wanted to make a call out. Basically, most of these tickers are coming off of what I've tweeted about recently. Even though, again, MACD doesn't look the best here, I think there's still enough room here on the RSI to have it to maintain this channel. I think it probably comes back down here to test the 120, 122, 122 area again. But that's only $1 away, so that wouldn't stop me from entering. 20 and 50-day here are kind of tied up, acting as double support, so that should be really good too. So if you want to wait for a down day, but even the lows of the day today would have been a good entry point from my perspective, with the eye going towards the future or through earnings, so you don't have those kind of risks. So this is the only like sub-dollar stock that I have at the moment, and that I'm looking at or even interested in. So I think we found a good logical support down here over at 55. As it kind of rose up here, that was a resistance, and now that's acting as support, which is held for this week. And now we're trying to actually come up and tackle the SMAs. Obviously, that's bullish to me. We just started the MACD and RSI runs, so from my perspective, I'm not sure if this trend will continue to hold, but we could see the 50-day get somewhere in early May. Could be when it gets up enough gumption, and once you get above that, then you start hitting into these upper resistance where you're talking about $1.50, $1.25, those areas. So I like that. Viri. Okay, so Viri has had a triple bottom here. I have a lot of this stock. One thing I really like here is the increasing of the RSI. It's been making higher lows. MACD kind of seems done, and it, to me, looks like it could very easily come over the 20 and 50-day here again in one or two sessions. It's tried obviously a couple times. Last time it got up to the 50, which previously it had always been stuck under 20-day, of course, because 50-day wasn't there. But it finally has come up across that, and these are close enough now that I think it blows through, and then hits one of these other layers of resistance, or every layer of resistance. So I'm looking at $6.80, $7.30, $8.30, $9. This isn't a fast-moving stock per se, but definitely one I think is worth looking at longer term. Laser has had a huge move. This is a little bit muted, this hump, compared to some of the other ones that were more of a triangle shape. But to me, still all in the same ballpark. We had this downtrend here that we broke above just today, and MACD RSI just starting to heat up. So I definitely think we get over the 50-day on this run and probably get stuck under the 100-day if I had to guess. But we'll see how far and how fast it can move. But yeah, looking at $30 being a fairly easy, realistic target here, considering we're sitting at 22.50. Yeah, 22.18 is what the close was. Okay, WWR. Here's more of similar chart, what I was looking at, speaking to earlier. Found, again, another logical support at 388 and trying to come off of those lows here. So we touched it a lot back here, briefly here, and now. So this is like the third time that we've been in this range. And I don't, again, expect these kinds of run-ups. Those are not sustainable. Again, I'm more interested in something along those lines, where next week we should be able to easily tackle the 20-day and possibly even the 50-day and the 100-day, and then from there we get into kind of blue skies. These points are going to see a lot of bag holders close out of their position because they just want to get out for break even. A lot of those people have already closed out of their positions. Obviously, you know, from up here, these people that were holding here closed here, and then more people come in here. So it's definitely going to hit resistance when it hits those levels. But that gets less and less as time goes on, as people just cut their losses and move on with their life. So yeah, so I'm thinking here $7 is a pretty easy target to go. So that's almost double, you know, and we could definitely get in here 850 range without too much hesitation. 950, 1050, those are going to be harder to hit in any sort of relevant time period, but yeah, so that's that one. So the last set here, I wanted to go over some green energy. Sedge has been wedging the past 3 days. It broke above those, and 20-day was confirmed. Tried to get over 50-day today, couldn't do that quite. So next 2 weeks, we should be looking to bounce around in here, get above the 100-day. But with earnings, again, that could obviously mess that up, but RSI has plenty of room to run here. So I don't think it's unrealistic to expect something like that, so that on this month's expiration, we could be above 300. Definitely possible. So, I mean, that's only $20. Similar looking is Plug and Sunpower. So Plug, here's again the hump, and kind of been going nowhere as far as MACD is concerned. RSI is just starting to make another attempt. You can see it tried here, that didn't go very well. But at this point, 20-day has really caught up. Let me put the 200 on here. Let's get rid of the 100. Okay, so now we're encountering the 200-day and the 20-day. To break through 200 again is very hard to do. It's a very good support. So it did that. It's done that this week, and now it's looking to get back up above. When it does that, obviously it's going to make it above the 20-day, and then we'll have the 100-day and 50-day up in here. But this red line has been support back through here. So I found support at, again, a logical support. This to me is a good entrance. It's showing signs of life again. Again, I don't expect this kind of rise, but you don't want that kind of rise anyway. You want something a little bit more sustainable. So by this month's expiration, might shoot for, yeah, I think that looks realistic, the $37, $38 range by, let's move this line out to the 21st. Yeah, so somewhere in here, $35 to me seems that would be my target for the 21st. Last one here is Sunpower. Okay, again, same look. This time we're well above the 200-day, but we still found support at a logical level, somewhere in the $25 range. We're sitting at 28.52. You can see that over here. And yeah, bounced off the 20-day that acted as resistance. Next week, I expect that we should be able to get above that and would look something like that. So we should be able to get to $32 by expiration on the monthly. So I think that's all I wanted to cover. More of a market update as opposed to a update of the account, but yeah, just kind of hovering around. I'm definitely the other day I said on Twitter I was feeling bearish. I still have a bit of bearishness, especially with SPY and some of the larger cap things. Some of the Becky ones are getting a little bit oversold. So like like Starbucks here, to me looks like it could come down here. CMG already started to come down pretty hard actually. HD is overextended, pretty crazy. That needs to come down at least a 20-day. I'd like it to come down to 310. MGN is another one that has just been kind of hanging up here in the upper range, and the 20-day actually did act as support. I'm still expecting that to roll over. I haven't lost hope there. I'm expecting something like that to come down and touch the 50-day right around 243. We have earnings coming up, and I think that is a perfect time for it to have IV crash on top of dropping down. Obviously, we'll see how earnings goes, but I'm bearish at the moment on these kinds of stocks. But on the smaller price stocks that I went over today, bullish. So I'm a little bit mixed. I think in the next 2 weeks, I keep kind of saying that I think we'll be really able to put on some new positions. And I'm definitely more comfortable feeling more in touch with the market where it's at today. Things over the past couple months were just dropping, and not really finding support or making progress. And now at this point, the RSIs and the level where they did find support makes sense to me. So I'm going to say overall bullish at this point. It's just that some of these things are still obviously oversold. The things that were doing well over the past couple weeks now need to take a break and let rotation go to some of the other things that weren't doing so well. So that's all I have for today. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any charts you want me to do, follow me on Twitter and just request. I do take requests for charts, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks.